Well, Ulysses, it was a disappointing loss for the Rays against the Yankees last night, but at the end of the day, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yes, and we will definitely go over the definition of bittersweet in this episode, so stay tuned.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Rays is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays. And you can email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Well, the Tampa Bay Rays gained some ground over their 3-game series against the Yankees on the road, winning game 1 4-0, winning game 2 3-1, and then thought they were going to win game 3, but they end up losing 8-7 thanks to a walk-off grand slam by one Josh Donaldson. So, Ulises, as you said, bittersweet would be the term.
Yeah, the big goal was definitely achieved, win the series. But then again, when you win the first 2, then you get a little bit greedy and you want the sweep. And it wasn't even that greedy because when you look up in the middle of the game, of the third game, Corey Kluber is pitching beautifully. The Yankees offense is nowhere to be found, and you're winning 4-0. So you're looking pretty good. 4-2, okay. Yankee Stadium kind of pop-up home run by Gleyber Torres. Fine. Okay, 4-2. Then the rain delay, man. The rain delay got to them. You in the middle of a rally too. It was tough, to go back, and yet they did. They after the game gets tied to 4-4, the boys get to work again. Francisco Mejía, clutch as ever. I mean, I've said this. The guy is growing as a catcher behind the dish, but I've always loved his bat. This guy's bat plays.
Oh, it plays wherever. He doesn't even have to be a catcher. He could be a first baseman, third baseman, corner outfielder, DH. Like, the fact that he can not necessarily square up, but make contact the way he did, shortening his swing on a 101-mile-per-hour fastball. Just whenever I think of Francisco Mejía hitting, I think gap to gap or down the line double.
Yeah.
Clutch hit.
Yeah.
Francisco Mejía. That's him. So the fact that they were talking about how Kluber was complimenting his work behind the dish and how he has grown. Like, we've seen that with our own eyes, not on the blocking side, but on the throwing runners out. He is getting better with as many reps as he's getting now that Zunino's out. So that's comforting to know on that side. But I just feel bad for Mejía too. He comes through like on a situation where it's pretty daunting. I know Aroldis Chapman might not be the Aroldis Chapman of yesteryear, but coming into yesterday's game, he had his last 9 outings were completely scoreless. So he's been shaky, but the last 9 outings he had been scoreless, and boom, you get through to him, and then Beeks lets you down, man. Then Beeks lets you down. A little bit of strike zone crap, but you don't lose because of the ump, man. You just didn't make your pitches. And honestly, Jalen Beeks did not make his pitches. I saw Aaron Boone slip a $20 bill to the umpire before the inning started. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I'm just throwing it out there. But at the end of the day, you're the Rays. You have a 4-0 lead into the 6th inning. Then you have a 7-4 lead in the 10th. And you can't close it out. Now, you mentioned Jalen Beeks. Do you put that more on Jalen Beeks or Josh Donaldson for making a tremendous swing, 97-mile-per-hour up and away, top of the zone? Although I think Mejía, or whoever was catching at that time, was looking for a pitch down and into Donaldson.
I thought so too. Yeah, I thought the setup was inside. Maybe it was a deep kind of setup by Mejía. But yeah, I did.
to my purview, I do think that he missed location there. He did walk a guy. The bloop single was a bloop single. Those sometimes can be avoided. Soft contact is better than hard contact, but ultimately, you have to make you have a 3-run lead, right? You can't allow that to happen. A bloop single, a walk, and then a grand slam. Like you can't. There is no excuse for Jalen Beeks there. Even as much as he has been efficient this year and a positive role in the bullpen. I mean, we saw him in Yankee Stadium be an opener, and he did really a good job. So,
that's the thing. You mentioned Jalen Beeks doing a really good job as an opener. Maybe that's his role, opener, middle innings. Maybe he should not be put in a situation where he's forced to inevitably close out a game at Yankee Stadium in a critical series with 40,000 fans screaming at your face. He's got 3 blown saves this year, and 1 save I just don't think. And again, it's not like the Rays necessarily have the pick of the litter with all the injuries, particularly to the pitching staff. But to me, if you can avoid it at all, you have to know, if you're Kevin Cash and Kyle Snyder, that, well, again, it was a 3-run lead, but Jalen Beeks, I don't think he's ever going to be closer material, given the fact he's also a lefty too. Like there's an absolute solid role for Jalen Beeks, but you have to be careful with where you're putting him in, just like a lot of other pitchers. Not, there's so many. The Rays like to, hey, we don't have a designated closer. We like to move guys around. There's some guys more appropriate for that position than others. I'll just leave it at that.
100%. Just like some guys come through with the clutch gene in the batter's box. Again, you analytics folks that don't like the word clutch, you can put your earmuffs on because it's a naughty word. Clutch. Yes, we said it. Clutch. Some guys don't have it also on the mound, and that's okay. Like they can be really good. We talked about that earlier in Stanek's career. Like, he can do a very good job being an opener, but put him in the 7th, 8th, or 9th, and then you get to see him be a little bit shaky. Maybe that has obviously changed now after a few years in the big leagues, and good for him. He's having a great season. We talked about him last week, but I wouldn't do that again with Jalen Beeks. The Rays treat bullpen guys fungible, 7th inning, 1st inning, 9th inning, and that's a strength. But you have to also know that some guys are going to be better suited than that, than others. And it was the lefties. It was the lefties that got burned yesterday. All of them. Colin Poche got burned again. Colin Poche gets burned.
He's a friend of the program, so I'm going to reserve comment on that for now.
Yeah, me too. But it has to be noted. Brooks Raley got burned again. Maybe not again, but got burned. And then Jalen Beeks got burned. So the 3 lefties, man, from the bullpen, not a good day.
Right. And again, not to put it all on Jalen Beeks, because again, it's not like he pitched from the 6th inning on. The Rays had a 4-0 lead, and that was blown in some shape or form too. So blame has to go around for sure. Everyone knows about the risk of driving drunk. The results are tragic and often deadly. However, that still does not stop everyone from getting behind the wheel while under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again, play it safe, and plan ahead to get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's life forever. Drive sober or get pulled over. Ulises, we spent a lot of time focusing on the Game 3 loss. However, Game 1 and Game 2, there certainly were positives and nice things to see in multiple facets of the game for the Rays.
Yeah, 100%. The pitching, which again, we talked about kind of faltering there in the 3rd, was beautiful. And in Game 1, I mean, you shut them out in Yankee Stadium. That's fantastic. I don't think that they had been shut down in back-to-back games the Yankees had since like 2005.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
And you get a win against Garrett Cole. And we saw Young Yarbs.
Yes.
We saw 3 double plays, and we saw Yandy continuing to rake.
Yeah, and so
taking it. The other,
there were.
Yeah. Go ahead. I think we're having a little bit of a delay. Go ahead.
I think so. No, there were tons of positive. I mean, again, Jose Siri is apparently going to be waking up with the bat. That's good news to see. Yandy Diaz is a guy that does not stop hitting. David Peralta, again, just giving you the 1-for-4 with a clutch on base. It's been more of a team lineup now. It's not just one guy, and that's good to see. But yeah, keeping that Yankees offense, which I know has their bumps, with Stanton being out, DJ being out, it's not the same Yankees offense from April, May, but it's still the Yankees, and you needed to win this series. And I use the word need because 40 games left, man, or something like that. I mean, I took off the countdown. I think it's somewhere around there, 45, maybe I don't know, but it's closing time, and you have to start winning the series, even if it is again. It's the Yank. It doesn't matter. Like you're going to. It doesn't get any easier now. You have to start winning these series.
And also just over those first 2 games of this series, taking advantage of runners in scoring position when they did have runners in scoring position. And, hits for the Yankees and the Rays were hard to come by in those first couple games. So when you get a runner on, take advantage of it, Yandy Diaz, take advantage of it, Randy Arozarena. So being able to come in clutch, because we've seen so many games this season where the Rays, they draw 10 walks and they get 8 hits and they go 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. That wasn't really the case in those first couple games. Yeah, there weren't a ton of opportunities, but they somewhat took advantage when they needed to. Now, not to put the cart before the horse here, but the Rays are now, I believe, 9 games back of the Yankees in the division. The Yankees slipping and sliding. The Rays getting things together and hopefully having more reinforcements over the next couple weeks. And to your point about number of games left, I could be wrong on this, but quick math, I want to say 49, give or take. I mean, just short of a little bit fewer than 50. Is there a shot for the Rays to claim the division here?
Math pod, there are 46 games left.
Oh my gosh, wow. That's not good.
46 games, not bad. And 10 games back. That's why yesterday the sweep was going to be so sweet, because with 8 games back, yes, we could have had a conversation on, is the division still at play? And I was going to just give everybody in Rays Nation and Locked On Rays Nation a little boost here, saying, yeah, the division is at play with 8 games to go and 46 games left. Now, 10 games left. I know it must be like, it's only 2 more, but like it is. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I am not going to be on the division is still at play. Like it's not. If they had completed the sweep, you would have seen me, not only being on that train, but handling the train. I would have been at the top of that train. So, but not. I'm not going to say that right now with 10 games back. No.
Thank you for doing the math correction there. I think I need to go back to high school, college, remedial math, whatever.
It's tough when a microphone is in front of you and a camera has a red light. Yeah.
And I was looking up at a outdated article, I guess. One day can change things. Like it's like goes from like 8 games to 10 games. Like what the heck?
Yeah.
But yeah, so now again, I don't think the Rays are going to win the division, although we've seen crazier things happen in the sport of baseball. They do have 6 games remaining against the Yankees. So head-to-head opportunity, I believe 3 at home, 3 on the road. Of course, you can't just mention the Yankees if you're talking about the Rays winning the division. I mean, you also would have to throw in the Blue Jays in that sense too, because it's not like, it would just be the Rays for the taking if the Yankees take. The Blue Jays are also, I mean, it's neck and neck for those 3 wild card spots, for really the top wild card spot between the Mariners, the Blue Jays, and the Rays right now. Now, kind of continuing on this a little bit, we know the Yankees have struggled and they're going through difficulties right now. A month ago, 2 months ago, really most of this season, I would have just put it down. Hey, let's end it. Yankees are going to win the World Series. But now with the way the Astros are playing, the Mets are playing, the Braves are playing, the Dodgers are playing, do you have a barometer on who you would put to win the World Series this year? Taking the Rays out of the equation.
Right.
Are you most confident in the Yankees getting it back together, the Astros, the Mets, the Braves, the Dodgers, or somebody I didn't mention, a wild card team sneaking in and winning the whole thing?
Before I answer that, I do want to say, yeah, it's not only Tampa who's having the conversation. It's, they're having the same conversation in Toronto. There are also 10 games back. So that's an issue. Going to your question, call me a boomer. Everybody can call me a boomer. I don't give a bleep. But starting pitching is just such a primordial need in the playoffs. And when you're telling me that you don't have aces, you have Hall of Famers like Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom,
right,
as your 1-2 punch, and you win the division, which means that your opponent is going to be hitting their number 3 or 4 starter against you, and you have that lineup, and you have Edwin Diaz doing Edwin Diaz stuff again in the 9th. Yeah. Oh, by the way, your number 3 starter is Chris Bassett, who was a number 1 in another team that was a playoff contender.
Yeah.
No, I would say the Mets, even above the Dodgers. I know the Dodgers lineup has no holes whatsoever, but with no Kershaw, with no Buehler,
right,
it seems like I would take the Mets.
That's a good pick. It's so funny because the Mets or even the Dodgers, the Dodgers, I guess, can't lose. They're at 81 wins right now. They're amazing at home and on the road. But it very well could be a team that, and this is why the playoffs is a crapshoot, that before you know it, it's like, what the hell? The St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series in 2022? Where did that come from? The Giants pulled out a wild card spot and won the whole thing? Like, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But so that's kind of a nice bow on the Yankees Rays series. Again, it would have been really, really nice to sweep, but you did, at the end of the day, take care of what you needed to do. Now, the hope is the Rays don't have a letdown hangover going into the Royal Series at the Trop. And before we get into that, Ulises, I think you have to give or provide some health advice to our listeners out there.
Yeah, I do. Maybe, are you struggling with a bloated belly? Have you seen enough Grand Slam walk-offs at the Bronx lately? Well, that could be a bad thing for you. Also, you know what's a bad thing? Uncomfortable digestive issues. But we know what can help for you, and that's Liver Health Formula from PureHealth Research. Liver Health Formula combines 8 powerful nutrients such as turmeric, beet, and artichoke extract to gently detoxify your liver. You can restore comfortable and regular digestion again, reduce belly bloat, and fill your days with renewed energy. And as a listener of our show, you can try Liver Health Formula risk-free today, and you will get a free bottle of KerpFit with your order. KerpFit is a safe and all-natural appetite suppressant, making it easy to say no to naughty foods. This makes it the perfect complement to Liver Health Formula. So you got to go to getliverhelp.com/MLB. I'll say that again. Getliverhelp.com/MLB to try Liver Health Formula today. I'll say it again. Getliverhelp.com/MLB.
All right. The Rays begin a 4-game set against the crummy Royals, who are 48-71. And if you remember at the trade deadline, they gave away 2 of their tested veterans in Whit Merrifield and Andrew Benintendi. So it's play the young guys for the Royals. But I don't want to say I'm concerned about this series, but I'm going to go into it with caution because we've seen this before, of where the Rays have a big series and then they come back to the Trop and have a hangover play competition. You go from, facing 40, 45,000 fans in New York, playoff type atmosphere. There's a lot of adrenaline pumping, and then you come to the Trop. I don't know what the attendance is going to be for Thursday's night's game, where it's Brad Keller going up against Luis Patino, and then you travel. You have that travel after the rain delay and the heartbreaking loss. I could see that this would not be the first time if we see the Rays come out flat and they lose 7-1 or something like that in game one.
And thank you for acknowledging the human fact, guys. Like, they had a horrible travel day, not only late, but then that mood. I know they say they try to keep things light, and Kevin Cash tries to keep things light, but like, they're human beings. They're competitors. That was not a happy flight back. That was not at least not as a whole, and at least not as happy as it could have been. So then you get home late. Everybody's tired. You wake up. Maybe is there batting practice today? Maybe Kevin Cash is friendly and goes, "Hey, no BP today. Like, take it easy." We have seen the team go flat after a high intensity series. I really, really hope that this is not one of them, because 46 games left. Like, every game matters, man. You need to get to 90. You need to get to 90 wins, Kevin. And right now, the Rays are 62-54. 62-54. So they need to win 28 games.
Of 46.
28 of 46.
That's roughly a 61% winning percentage.
It's not easy. 28 of 46. 28 of 40. So for everyone that's like, oh, it's fine. Like, bro, 46 games. Like, you need to win. You need to win. And it's the Kansas City Royals. You got to win the series.
Yeah. And
you got to win the series.
We've seen the Rays lose to teams like the Royals before. In fact, they did lose 2 out of 3 against the Royals coming out of the All-Star break. Now, that team had a little bit of a different complexion for sure, but this isn't a good team by any means. They are 23rd in OPS, 27th in homers in all of baseball. The Rays actually have more home runs than the Royals this year, believe it or not. 27th in team ERA, and their defense is actually pretty solid. Thanks to, I think, Nicky Gonzalez, 10th in outs above average, although I think they lost some of that with the trades. It's a little bit misleading because that included the performances of Merrifield and Benintendi, respectively. But and to your point about the Rays needing to win 28 of their next 46 and a 61% winning percentage, over the course of 162, that would put a team winning 61% of your games from 162 would put you on pace for 99 wins. So they got to play like a 100-win baseball team over these last.
They got to play like 2021. They got to play like 2021.
Yeah, which
and that's tough.
Could happen, but it's a tough schedule. I mean, if you want to do that, you have to make up ground against the Royals in this series, and then the Angels after that. These next 8 games are critical for that, quite frankly.
Yeah. You have to start winning series, and I don't care if it's 4-3. You gotta take 3. You know what? If you're gonna be asleep and flat-footed tonight, fine. But then you're going 3 in a row. Then you're going 3 in a row. I know Saturday is going to be really hyped up. There's a giveaway, so obviously those are where people go out the most to the Trop. Right. So I would expect a lot of Rays fans to show up on Saturday. So that always is a good feeling for the players to be supported by their fandom. So I would give Saturday a good bump in the W column. Yeah. Let's see about the next 3. I'm just, again, bittersweet, man. You had the sweep. Yeah. You had the sweep, and then it slipped. It slipped.
You have, as I mentioned, Patino versus Keller tonight. Brady Singer versus Shane McClanahan on Friday. Chris Bubick versus Drew Rasmussen on Saturday. So that giveaway will be when Drew Rasmussen is starting, I presume, which would be a nice showcase for him coming off the perfect game, or almost perfect game, I should say. And then Sunday is TBD versus Zach Greinke. I got to say, if there was only one game that I could watch in this series, it would be the TBD versus Zach Greinke, because I want to take advantage of watching a future Hall of Famer in Zach Greinke, because look at his numbers, look at his career, look at what the 38-year-old has done. So well-rounded too, in terms of not just pitching, but when he was hitting as a pitcher and fielding. And I mean, the resume is absolutely there. So I don't think people talk enough about Zach Greinke's Hall of Fame resume, and he's still kicking around. I mean, any team would love to have him as part of their equation or rotation with they're not Justin Verlander numbers by any means, but they're number 4, number 5 starter numbers. And just take advantage, if you can, to watch a little bit of Zach Greinke on Sunday, because you never know. I mean, I would imagine that he would continue to keep pitching, but some guys retire sooner than expected, maybe. So just kind of soak in that moment, if you will.
Yeah. Also, just to hammer down the point of 28 wins out of 46, and you said 610 winning percentage. That also means it's 28 and 18 they have to go. So they have to play 10 games over 500. It's not going to be easy. And we've talked about the schedule in the mailbag episode from yesterday on Wednesday. It's a tough schedule. You play the Red Sox, you play the Blue Jays, you play the Astros, you play the Yankees. So you're telling me you have to go 28 and 18 in the toughest month of your season.
Right.
Tough. So these games against the Royals, these games against the Angels, they better be W's.
Yeah, and don't they play a string of like 17 straight games or something? It's some ridiculous, like they have like one off day in the month of September. It's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
And I think that off day, I'm just scrolling here, and there's some, I think, double headers involved too. It's going to be rough.
It's going to be rough.
By the way, I will be at the game. Well, Ulises, I think you're going to be at the game on Saturday.
Well, I want to give a shout out to a couple people. Brendan Adkins. I want to give a shout out to Brendan Holcher. I want to give a shout out to Austin Holloway, inviting us to games. Thank you guys so much. That really means a lot to us, and we get to enjoy the ball game with people that also know ball, and that's always enjoyable.
And I'll go ahead and throw it out there. On Friday, I'll be in section 141, row double G, somewhere around there, seat 18 through 22, one of those. So if you want to say hello and chat baseball, I'm cool with that. So section 141, row double G, seat 18 through 22, something along those lines. So.
That's cool. Okay, so on Saturday, I will be in row 141.
No way.
Row JJ.
Okay.
Seat 24. So if you want to say hi, I'll be more than happy to talk ball and say hi to you back.
There we go. Awesome. Wow. And if you can't find it, just yell out our names, and I'm sure one of us.
Just go around the trop just yelling Locked On Rays. Yeah.
There we go. Exactly. Thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your very first listen every day. Now make your second listen the Locked On MLB podcast with our buddy Sully. That is also free and available on all platforms. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you on Friday.